Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Fab's in the house. And today we're going to compare the Shirogorov Hati up against the Shirogorov F95. Very similar knives apparently, but they also are quite different. Let's check them out. So first thing you're going to notice is that, the F95 is a little bit heavier than the Hati because this guy is weighing in at 4.8 ounces or like 149 grams. The Hati instead is lighter, also 1 ounce lighter, like 3.8 ounces or 120 grams. So this mainly comes from the scale, the presentation scale, because this one, the F95 is just using a titanium scale, whereas on this guy you'll see a carbon fiber one. Also, you're gonna notice that the inside of the lock side are heavily milled out, heavily skeletonized for the Hati, whereas they are just normal on the F95. Also, other similarities are, of course, the size, like 8.75 inches long overall for both and 3.75 inch long blade. They're both frame locks, and they both are sporting a beautiful stainless steel lock insert to reduce or to eliminate actually lock stick, because you have a titanium frame lock. So the lock is made out of titanium, of course, and it's making contact with the tang of the blade, which is steel, which is harder. Therefore, it's creating a lock stick if you don't place another piece of steel to make contact with the tang of the blade. So beautifully executed in this case. In this case, we have both blades that are in M390 steel, so very high-end steel, and they both are titanium frame lock, and they both have a I would say like stone-washed lock side. But in the case of the F95, as you can see, the finish is much finer than the one on the Hati. So Hati has a little bit rougher stonewash for the scale, and the F95 is a little bit subtler, a little bit finer medium they used for this one. Also, if you check the blade, it's quite different. I mean, the overall profile is the same, but the finish is definitely different. As you can see, like the Hati has a stone washed with some reflectivity to it, whereas the F95 is completely matte and has almost like a sandblast finish to it. So very different. Also, you're gonna notice that this, being like the F95 nudist, has been like stripped down basically of everything, and there's no jimping going on the spine of the blade, whereas the Hati has this beautiful jimping right over here. That's just nice. Also, you're gonna notice that the Hati has the bear logo on the blade, whereas the F95 has just the logo right over here, up above the pivot. On the other side, they both have the M390 logo to remind you, what kind of steel you're using. And also, you will notice that this grind is just a full flat grind, so it goes up to the spine right over there, whereas here you have just a little bit of flat right above the bear, just to, it's not like a full flat, but the curve down here, the drop point is the same, the belly amount and just the flat edge are gonna be exactly the same as well. The sharpening choil, everything else is gonna be very similar. Also, like something quite different is the lanyard hole. So in the F95, they drilled a hole basically in, like, milled, not really drilled, in the scale, the presentation scale. In the Hati, they built in the lanyard loop, the hole, into the back spacer. So a little bit different. I mean, it's going to be easier to slide in a piece of paracord right into the F95, whereas here, you see it's a little bit on the tight side. You can still manage to do it, but probably it's better if you just disassemble, the scale and just pass the paracord through. So it's going to be much easier. Also, another little difference is that the F95, if you can see over here, has this notch which serves as a fingertip rest when you flip the knife. So basically you're gonna do like this, and if you do like a push button mechanism to open the knife, your fingertip is gonna rest on a notched area, whereas on the Hati you don't have anything here, so it's gonna be, you know, less comfortable, let's say, compared to the F95. Also, a little difference on the back is that the Hati has this guy has one line here in the pocket clip, whereas the F95 has just two, 1 and 2. I don't know why, but that's just life. Also, you know, the main probably aesthetic difference, beside, you know, the presentation scale being carbon fiber and titanium, is the chamfering. So what is going on is that the F95 is much rounded off to the edges, you see? So this translates into better ergo. In fact, you see that this side, like say this one, you see one, and then it's like, not like sharp, but you see the edge over here going like this big chamfering, and then you have the flat. In the F95 you have the same flat here, but it's rounded off, has a radius, and then it's just flat. So this is gonna translate into, you know, superior ergo and more you know, comfortable grip when you're gonna squeeze these handles. So, you know, something to point out. Also, of course, you know, we said that, you know, the weight is diminished in the Hati because of the heavy skeletonization going on the inside, and whereas over here you have just no milling, no internal milling, and of course, you know, titanium is going to be more heavy than the carbon fiber. Also, like something pretty different is going to be the sound. So check out, this is the F95 sound when opening, and this is the Hati when opening. So quite different. This is lower pitch and the noise is less. F95 is louder. See? Very loud, let's say. I mean, not super loud, but louder than this guy. Closing noise for the Hati is this. All right? For the F95 is this. So it's a little bit louder. This has a little bit more resonance to it, like not like an echo, but kind of. Whereas the Hati is a little bit subtler and quieter and more dampened. So very, very interesting. So also a little bit different is gonna be the detent, which it's a tiny bit stronger on the Hati, I would say, just a little bit. I mean, it's not light on the F95, but definitely it's a little bit snappier over here. So, you know, overall, both are just astounding blades. There you go. So this was my comparison between the Shirogorov Hati and the Shirogorov F95. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching and stay tuned.